Hello, 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 and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where you can always come here first to quench your reality thirst, and where we put the real and the tea in reality. I am your girl, Lana, your resident diva, here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I loves me some tea her. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am here all alone. Oh, but I'm also drinking water. Regular water. I don't have the button set up, so it is what it is. But just water. And if I was drinking anything else, I would be drinking it in my cup mug, where you can get all of your cup merch. The description is down below. Um, LanaG'sCreations.etsy.com. Period. Get this. We got the cup. We got other things that you can get, and just check out my Etsy shop. So I am here all alone. Apparently, unfortunately, everybody else had things going on, so it is just me talking about claim to fame. And you know what? I don't mind that at all. I kind of like being here talking to you guys, and it's just me because I could talk about whatever I want whenever I want, however I want. So I might start liking this a little bit more. We'll see. But we are talking about episode 3 of Claim to Fame. As we know, last week Travis was sent home. Ooh. And so we're starting a new week off. And yeah, everybody is still reeling over the ejection of Travis and all of that. And they're excited about going into this new week. A lot of chit chat and chatter is going on about, who should they target next, who, more clues going around. And so Monet, after getting Chris's clue from the last week, her last win, she was a little stumped. She didn't really know what this clue meant. And so she was trying to get help from Shane. Her and Shane came up with puppy love and 7 t-shirts. They didn't really understand the clue. They didn't get it. They didn't understand it. They were still trying to figure it out, but they came up with a cute song, so they were okay. It was fine. but they were trying to they didn't really know, so they were going to reach out to Jane and maybe get Jane's help. But the night before, apparently, when Monet was trying to explain her clue to Jane, Jane freaked out because Jane thought Monet pulled her clue. And she said because her person, who we talked about last week, if you haven't seen our last reactions, who we thought Jane's relative was, um, had a song also called Puppy Love, her first single. And Jane thought that Monet had pulled her clue. Monet did not pull her clue. Monet had pulled Chris's clue. And when Monet tried to explain that to her, Jane was like, no, 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 you pulled my clue. I get it, whatever. You pulled my clue. And she was like, I did not. So Jane was a little bit paranoid, worried about if Monet pulled her clue or not. And Monet was like, I'm a little annoyed that she just does not believe me when I'm telling her I did not pull her clue. So it was what it was. Um, Really, it was just a lot of back and forth, a lot of conversations about, who could be who. And so a group of them met in the rooms after Jane and Monet had their little exchange about pulling her clue or not pulling her clue. They had their exchange. And so Monet was in the room, I think, with Chris and Hugo and Gabriel, everybody except Cole. Yeah, I think it was pretty much everybody except Cole that was in the room. And they were talking about how Jane was flipping out, about paranoia, how she didn't she didn't believe she didn't pull her clue, ja, ja, ja. And so they asked Monet, what was it that she heard, or what did you say that obviously freaked her out? And so Monet was like, I mean, I don't know. It just talked about it was a puppy, and she just flipped out about a puppy. And she said, puppy and a heart. And in that moment, Chris knew that Monet probably pulled his clue, because his relative also had a famous song called Puppy Love. And so he was like, oh, she pulled my clue. Crap. So he's like, now he's freaking out. And so he gets up and walks out the room immediately, and um, goes to find Jane is talking to Cole, and she's like, I mean, he's like, Jane, can I talk to you for a minute? Um, I don't think Monet pulled your clue. I think she pulled my clue. And Jane is like, oh, are you kidding? What? He was like, I think she pulled my clue. And so Jane is like, oh no. In that moment, she knew she messed up, because she's like, I need people on my side. And if I don't have people on my side, I can get, people would stop giving me information. And Monet was somebody who she trusted, and somebody who she was working with, who she felt comfortable with about getting information. And then Monet even came to her with the information. Like, I'm like, why would you not believe it? She didn't pick your clue when she's coming to you to ask you for help with a clue. That was one thing I didn't understand. I didn't understand how, how Jane just assumed would not believe she didn't pick her clue. Like, why would Monet pick her clue, then come to her to help her solve the riddle to her clue? That doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And so I was like, girl, think about it. Think about it. But eventually she realized that it was not her clue that was pulled. So now she's like, ooh, how do I fix this? I don't know. But before she had a chance to fix anything, they went to the competition. If I am missing something of importance, you all know what to do. Reach down in the comments and talk about it, interact with me and with the Cup crew. Even though it's just me tonight, other members of the crew have watched the show. They just were busy. So they will interact with you as well. So if I'm missing anything that you felt is more of an importance, then hit me up. But anyway, because this is probably going to be a very short podcast, by the way, if you hadn't noticed. So we get to the challenge this week, and the challenge is all about headshots. And headshots in more ways than one, not just your regular glamour pose headshots, you know. But they're also we're playing, I guess, a version of dodgeball, but like slingshots and balloons and paint, well, full of paint balloons, and their faces were on these balls, which was on a pedestal or on a little perch. And this was a team challenge, and if the team who knocked off all of their opposing team's balls will win, and the captain of that team will win safety, so, well, immunity for the night. And yeah, it was just like that. So they had to randomly pick who was going to be captain, and it was literally just ping pong balls. If you pulled a green or a blue ping pong ball, you were the captain. And so they pulled, and the captains ended up becoming Shane and Gabriel. Which Shane wanted to be captain. Shane was like, I need to be captain. So if we win, I can be immune, and they can't come after me. But because she knows everybody knows who she is. And so she's like, I need to be immune so people won't come after me, or they can't come after me. Um, then Gabriel, at first he kind of wanted it, but then he was like, nah, I don't want it because if I lose, I don't want to be on the bottom. I don't want to have to guess again. I don't want to do that. So I would rather not be captain. But he ends up being captain anyway. So it is what it is. So they pick teams. So Shane's team is Shane, Chris, Cole, Hugo, and Carson. And Gabriel's team is Gabriel, Monet, Jane, JR, and Olivia. Those are the teams. And so Gabriel's team is the blue team. Shane's team is the green team. So for the shooters, they had these slingshots, like I said. So for the shooters were JR and Jane and Cole and Olivia? Oh, Carson. It was Carson. I'm sorry, it was Carson. So it was Carson and Cole for the green team and Jane and JR for the blue team. So they start off and they're shooting, and Gabriel is like a beast out there. He is ripping and running, and he's getting, blocking the balloons from hitting the balloons. Literally tore his pants in the process of um, of blocking these balloons from hitting their pictures and whatever. So he is rocking and rolling all by himself. He is killing it, blocking everything. Can't nobody stop it. But then Cole, out of nowhere, just becomes this sharpshooter, and he is just rearing that slingshot back and bow, just knocking the blue team's balls off. This honestly was a blowout. There was no. It was a blowout. It was a massacre. It was embarrassing for the blue team. The green team wins. Shane, Chris, Cole, Hugo, and Carson win with really no problem after a while. It just got really easy. So of course, now Gabriel is up for eliminate. Well, up to become a guesser, and he has to choose someone from his own team to join him as a guesser, and he chooses Jane. So it's going to be Gabriel and Jane coming down to it at the end to decide who's going to become the guesser for this round. Um, so they get back to the house, and everybody is like, well, Jane is freaking out. Jane is freaking out at this point. She's freaking out. She's losing her mind. She's trying to decide what to do. She was like, I don't know anybody concrete except for Shane. But Shane is immune, so can nobody go after Shane? And so she's trying to, figure out who's what's what, figure out who is doing any, who is who. That was her whole goal. And she's scrambling. She's scrambling, but she's in her room. She's writing down ideas and thoughts. And so Carson comes to her and it's like, hey, sorry. Before I jump to that, let me jump back a little bit. After the green team wins, they all five members of the blue team has a clue given to them about who their celebrity is in form of a headshot, and everybody's sweating. Everybody's like, "Oh no, oh no, we don't know." Oh, something else I forgot. Oh my goodness. I am just all over the place. But see, this is what happens when I'm by myself. I'm all over the place. Gabriel has everybody thinking that his relative is a NFL player. Everybody's believing it. I mean, he had a whole conversation with Olivia about how his his brother is a player, how he is his quote unquote his personal assistant or roadie. He's like carrying bags and doing kind of things like that. And she was like, "What's the most expensive thing you've ever gotten?" He was like, "I mean, me personally, I don't buy expensive things, but if sometimes my brother gives me a gift, and that's fine." He said he told this whole story about one day his brother went to a jewelry store and bought four of the same matching bracelets to give to his four girlfriends, and they all know about each other, and they all like it's okay. I don't know if the story is true. Don't know. I mean, don't know. But it's kind of interesting. But they're very convinced his brother is an athlete and he plays in the NFL, which me personally don't think that's well. I know for sure who his brother is, though. It's interesting. It's interesting, but it was funny. He hasn't very much convinced. So the headshots, back to the game, headshots. They take down these pictures, and it's just their picture, but with like little clues on it. So for like JR's, I mean not JR's, for Gabriel's picture, it was a windmill hat and a star and some drumsticks. Now, me personally, knowing who his brother is made sense to me. But everybody was like, "Oh, is that a Dallas Cowboy star? Oh, yeah, that's a Dallas Cowboy star." I'm like, what they got to do with the drumsticks? Drumline. What they got to do with the windmill? Comedy. The star, he's a star. But they're convinced that it's the Dallas Cowboy star. So, yep, he's definitely an NFL. I say that's smart gameplay for Gabriel. He's doing amazing. People will never guess him, so they will never pull him up. And even if they pull him up, they will guess wrong. So it would be interesting. Um, I think he's on a good path to possibly winning this game. Just, just I'm gonna throw it out there right now. If he doesn't get more clues taken from him, if yeah, that's my prediction. So then, Monet's was a fedora hat, and I think it was a chain. A chain, I can't remember, but that made everybody back on the train of she is related to Steve Harvey. Monet is someone else who I feel is going to have the really good chance of winning this game because nobody is going to be able to figure out who her person is. Like I said, her person, her celebrity relative, I know who it is famous, but not so famous that everybody just will, any clue would give it away. Like you really have to be a fan of him to know who he is personally, I believe, and or a show that he was on, which a lot of people are fans of the shows that he was on. But again, I think you just really have to know. You might be like, "Oh, that's that guy from that show," but not know his name. So I think Monet has a really good chance of winning this game as well. I said it before and I'll continue to say it. But anyway, and then Jane's picture happened, and it was a parrot, a orchid, and a choker around her neck, a collar, like a blue, and it was blue. It was a blue collar. So those are her clues. Um, JR was a chef hat and a pacifier. That really didn't give a whole lot to who his person is, but knowing that I think I know who it is, the pacifier makes sense to me. To me. And then who else? Chris. No, not Chris. I said Monet. I said Gabriel, Jane. Uh, Olivia had a doctor's, like a hospital plus symbol, and then alien headband. Didn't really give a whole lot. didn't really give a whole lot to who her person is. Yeah, didn't really give a whole lot. But so those were the clues that they gave. So, like I said, they go back to the house and they're scrambling. Gabriel really doesn't want to be the guesser. Jane really doesn't want to be the guesser. But the house is like, we got to try to get rid of Jane at this point. We need to figure out how to do that. Um, Meantime, Jane is like, I need to do some damage control with Monet because I could possibly be the guesser. And if I am the guesser, I need to see her clue for Chris and see if I can figure this thing out. And so she goes and she talks to Monet. She's crying. She's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't believe you. I don't know why I didn't. She says, this is my fault. I'm so sorry. And so Monet really wanting to get Chris or, get Chris out. She's like, it's fine. I understand. I accept your apology. It's great. We're good. Don't worry about it. Um, and so James like, I see the clue? And so she shows her the clue. She shows her the clue. And so they're looking it over. And last week I put it up here. This was Chris's clue. And yeah, this was Chris's clue. Puppy in a heart t-shirt in I doll, the symbol of the for the word in 7 t-shirts. So, I mean, I got the clue, and a lot of other people got the clue. It was puppy love, T in teen idol, teen idol in 70s, 70s. So teen idol, puppy love, teen idol, 70 in 70s. So that was Chris's clue, and so Jane looks at this clue and is like, oh, puppy. I think it might be hound dog. I think that's a hound dog. And fools rush in like a Russian doll. So fools rush in the 70s. And she comes up with the conclusion that Chris is related to Elvis. That was her guess. That was her thing that she kind of figured out in the confessionals. Like, oh, I think I know who it is. I think I know who it is. So she thinks it's Elvis. Spoiler. But it's not really a spoiler. So there's the house is still trying to decide who are they going to have guests. After they figured this out, they go down to the ceremony and everybody picks who they want to guess. And lo and behold, the guests are between Gabriel and Jane. It's Jane. Jane is the guesser. Jane has to guess, and so Gabriel's relieved he doesn't have to do the guessing. Um, Although a conversation did happen with Gabriel and Chris because Carson first with a conversation first happened with Carson and Chris, and Carson was like, I think I know who Jane's person is. She was like, because the Orchid is a bar or it's a place in Nashville that all the big countrymen, the country people, all the big stars sing it. And it's the little orchid or the something orchid. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But she said, and then the blue collar is like the working man blue collar 9 to 5. She was like, it makes sense that Jane is her person is Dolly Parton. And so Carson tells Chris this. So Chris is like, So Chris tells Gabriel that he feels like he's pretty sure Dolly Parton is who Jane is related to. And so Gabriel's like, oh, because Chris's whole thing is he needs to make sure that he doesn't get called. And if Gabriel is the guesser, he can call Jane and Jane will go. But they didn't know they wanted to risk that if they were wrong. So they were going back and forth, landed on Jane. Jane has now have to she has to now decide who she is going to guess, and she decides that she's going to guess Chris because she feels like after seeing the clue from Monet, she was sure of who Chris was related to, and so she calls Chris up there, and Chris is nervous. He is scared to death, scared, shaking. He don't even know what to do. He's so scared, but he's keeping his cool. He's like, okay, all right. So they asked who she thinks he's related to. And she said, Chris, I think you're related to Elvis Presley. And they start to do the countdown on the clock and gets the one, and it's red thing. And she's like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? And he's like, that means you're wrong. So, Chris, you are safe. You can go sit down. Chris is like, oh my God, that was the scariest thing. And so his confession was like, as soon as she said Elvis Presley, I just begin to melt on the inside because I'm like, oh, that's not who I'm related to. And so he was happy. And so he sat down. And so since she got it wrong, Jane is now eliminated. We had high hopes for Jane. Some of us did. A couple of weeks ago, Brooke was like, very high hopes. Even was it last week too? Yeah, last week Brooke was very like on the Jane train and was sure Jane to be around for a while. I told him, I told them, I told them, I told them. I did not think it was gonna happen because they were on to Jane, and I'm like, once they get on to you, it, they coming for you. And it just so happened Carson was definitely on to Jane. And but they didn't even need to do that because Jane got it wrong on her guess. So Jane is gone. It was revealed who her celebrity relative was, and it was of course Dolly. It was of course Dolly Parton. So Dolly was her relative, her aunt. Kudos, shout out to Brooke for knowing that first. Um, yeah, it was Dolly Parton's her aunt. A nice message from Dolly herself. It was beautiful. Jane was so excited to finally let it out who her aunt was. And she was like, this is why I did this show because I was so excited to show everybody who my aunt was. It was also revealed that her name is not even Jane, it's Jada Starr, which Dolly named her Jada Star, and she said that Dolly wanted to name her Jada Starlene, but her dad was like, absolutely not. We will not be doing Starlene. We'll just do Star. So Jada Star is her real name, and Dolly Parton is her aunt. And this was actually a really good episode. I was very much like, yes, this is really good. This is a good episode. I was down for it. I was here for it. And it was just really good. She left with everybody was very, like she told them why did she go after they asked her why did she go after Chris, and she was like, well, I got a clue from Monet, which now is to me, I'm like, dang, you got Monet like that on your way out, like really, but whatever. um and she was like, I was sure that he was related to Elvis, but I guess I was wrong. Even when you get a clue and you see a clue doesn't mean you're always right. So she left with grace, and she was beautiful. I like Jane. I was very sad to see Jane go. I wish that I was like, wow, they could have, I didn't see any scenes from next week, which I was annoyed by because I want to know what the fallout was from Monet being exposed that she got Chris's clue. How would that, how people will react to that? How will Chris react to that? Is he going after Monet now? Um, but who knows? As of right now, everybody still thinks she's related to Steve Harvey. So who knows? But I'm going to go into spoilers and speculations right now. So if wait, I won't go into spoilers and speculations right now. Because I want to give you, our audience, a chance. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't had a chance to watch, I want you to see the clue that Shane picked, because Shane won the challenge. Her team won the challenge, and so she got the challenge clue. And Shane is like, look, I'm here for the short game because everybody knows who my celebrity is. So I know the second I can be put up or figured out, I will be figured out. So Shane is just like Simone Biles' sister last season. Like, everybody know right away who her celebrity relative is. And so she's like, I am not here to play a long game. I know I'm not going to win this game, and that's fine. But what I will do is, while I'm here, is figure out people are not convinced about yet, people who don't know, who we don't know yet. And so she pulled Carson's clue. And I'm like, oh, okay, Shane, I see you. I understand. I kind of like that in her. And so I will show you all Carson's clue. Let's put that up. This was Carson's clue: a trophy, an eraser, a dash, an E. I guess that's a profile, an empty profile. I don't know what these other things are. A circle, a circle. I don't know what those are, but the 4 and a beer. I personally would have been very confused at this. I mean, I know who Carson's person is. Shout out to Nay and to Brooke because they figured that out. I personally would not have figured it out with this clue if I didn't already know. And even already knowing, I don't see where that makes sense. But y'all can see. I'll leave it up for a minute so y'all can look at it if you don't know. But if you don't, put it in the comments below who you think it is if you don't know. If you know, you can put it in the comments. It's fine. But yeah, this is the clue. And tell me if you would have guessed that person, if you knew beforehand, if you would have guessed it from this clue. Is this the clue that will help you, like, I know exactly who it is? Or is it like, oh, I already knew, but still, this clue still ain't giving me nothing? Because really, for me, I would not know what it was from this clue. But this is the clue. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's what that was. And now I'm going to go into my spoilers and speculations. I mean, we've talked about it, but, I will do it for every week until people are gone. And, also, one thing, Jane had a speculation about Hugo. And she should have picked Hugo. Like, she should have picked Hugo because she was right on the money on her speculation. She should have picked Hugo and she would have been safe. But anyway, we're going to go to spoilers and speculations. So if you don't want any spoilers and you don't want any speculations, this is where we will say goodbye. I will say thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Do all the things, YouTube buttons, hit the buttons to like, share, subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. We are building up this channel. Our main channel, The Cup Pot, is a our main channel on the Cup of Reality over there is doing really well, and we want to do the same thing on this one, the Cup TV. So if you're watching us and you're from the Cup TV or from our other seen from our other shows on our other channel, come to this channel, subscribe, share, follow, do all the things, share with your friends, tell them all about the Cup TV. You know, we're growing. We're starting out and we're growing, and we would love to have you along for the ride. Um, Come follow me on Twitter if you want, and follow the Cup Pod on Twitter, so you can get all of the information on when all of our videos are going to drop, dates and times and things like that. You will never be without the out of the loop. Also, get your cup merch all at lanagcreations.etsy.com, where you'll find all of the cup merch and other things. So check that out. So if you're leaving us because you don't want to hear the spoilers and speculations, bye. Are they gone? Are they gone? Okay, okay. Spoilers and speculation time. So, like I said, I know for sure about some of these people. We talked about it last week. For one, we kind of knew who Jane was before she was gone, but I'm so glad we were right. Um Now it's people. Now let's talk about Carson's, because like I said, that clue wouldn't have gave me nothing. But I already knew who she was. But if I was in the house, I probably would be still lost about who she was, because that clue wouldn't have gave me anything. But we all know. Well, we're speculating at this time. We're going to speculate that Carson was Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s is her celebrity relative. Makes sense. Brooke, being a huge NASCAR fan, was sure about that. I kind of, at first I was like, is she country stars? I think Logan thought she was Blake Shelton's kid at one point, or related to Blake Shelton at some point. And I was like, I don't know. But we all came to the conclusion when Nate was like, I think she belongs to Dale Earnhardt. So, and I have to agree. Now we all know Chris. If you ain't seen that clue and don't know who that is, for me, I mean, you might be too young to know. I am perfectly not. But Puppy Love, teen idol in 70s. Puppy Love was a huge hit for none other than Donny Osmond. And he looks just like him. Just look at him in the eyes. It's all up in here. This part right here is all up in here. He looks just like Donny Osmond and had that same head. Like, yeah, Chris is Donny Osmond's son. There we go. Um, then let's talk about Cole, because Cole, he is still getting that very, as Brooke likes to call it, the purple edit. He's not getting a lot of camera time. They're not talking about him a lot. Nobody really knows, or they're not speculating about him. They don't really know who he is. We here at the Cup, we know who he is, and if I think a lot of people know who he is outside of the show right now. But we were thinking, and our speculation is that Cup is Alicia Keys' brother. We'll see if our speculation is correct. Hugo, Jimmy Carter. We do it. We said it. It was no thing. And then when Jane said it, I'm like, oh, she knows. Go with that. Go with that, Jane. But she didn't go with that. She's gonna be so mad that she was right and did not go with it. Um, Shane obvious is Eddie Murphy. We knew that from her clue. Um, Gabriel, to me, his headshot clue just confirmed that what I already knew. But my speculation, I will still say a speculation since we don't know for facts. Speculation is he is related to Nick Cannon. The drumsticks, drumline gave it away. Period. JR, it was some a little back and forth last week on the show. I still am going to go with Lil Nas X, and I think the baby, little, little baby, is, I don't know what his clues. It didn't really give anything, but I think it's Lil Nas X, me personally. But that's still a speculation until we know for sure, until it's revealed and it's shown for facts. Um, then Olivia, I had a speculation. Everybody had different speculations. My speculation was Jenny McCarthy. Yeah, yeah, Jenny McCarthy. Yeah, that's my speculation. I don't know, but I'm not convinced fully because of with the clues that they gave today. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Um, because I'm like, Jenny McCarthy was she didn't do Love Line with them, I don't think. So I'm like, what does the hospital or doctor thing have to do with Dr. Love? She was on the game show Singled Out. Was it Singled Out? One of those shows on MTV. But I'm not convinced. I'm not sure. So still a speculation on Olivia, then Monet. I think her father is JB Smooth, but I feel like nobody will guess it. So I think she's on a very good path of making it very far in this game because nobody will guess it. They are on the Steve Harvey train right now. Oh, let me put that back up. They're on the Steve Harvey train. They think she's related to Steve Harvey, and they're convinced. They're convinced. Um, let's see who else is left. Who didn't I say? I think I said everybody. I think I said everybody. I think I talked about everybody. So those are my speculations. Those are some spoilers, maybe, possibly. We don't know. I didn't, like I said, I didn't see any clips from, they didn't have on what I was watching. They didn't show me like scenes for next week. So I have no idea what's happening next week. But I'm excited to be back next week to talk about Claim to Fame. Hopefully, I won't be alone. But if I am, that's okay. I don't mind talking to you guys by myself. And, you know, we'll take this journey together and do all the things. But I appreciate you stopping by and taking the time to check out my take on Claim to Fame. I thought this was a great show this week. It was amazing. I was very intrigued. I think this is a great cast. I am very entertained by them. So I am happy with this season so far. And I will be back next week to talk about it more. And maybe somebody will join me or not. But if not, it's fine. You all do the YouTube things. Press the buttons. Like, share, follow, subscribe, share, because sharing is caring. And we love when people share, you know? We love that. Follow us on the Cup Pod on Twitter. Also follow us, the Cup Pod, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We are all there. Check all the socials and get your cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. I appreciate you staying up with me and talking with me, and comment below. Tell me what you think. Let's talk about Claim to Fame. And yeah, that's it. So I appreciate you all. And yeah, bye bye now. Bye. Cheers. Bye.